Hey everyone, it's Jennifer and we're back with our last video in the series of some card making basic tips. So this is the card we've been making and this is how far we've gotten on the one we're making in the video. So we're going to add our rhinestones and our swirlies here. Okay, so let's get started. The first tip is the Big Shot. Do you have the Big Shot? If you don't, you need it now. I love the Big Shot. It probably now is my favorite stamping tool. I used to always say punches are my favorite, and I still love punches, but the Big Shot just is so versatile. There's so many types of images you can get from it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, if you don't own the Stampin' Up! Big Shot, if you purchase it from me, you will get from me free either the precision base plate, which I'm going to show you here in a second, or the magnetic platform. So more details on my blog about that. The second thing is, if you do already own the Big Shot, you're going to want to purchase Stampin' Up's new platform to replace your old platform. Why? It's new and improved, and it's awesome. Mine is well used here. So I don't know if you can see it in the video, but this is the new platform. This is what it looks like. The middle part here is raised. And what that does for us is it makes all of our embossing more even and more deep than ever before. It's just embosses beautifully. And for your thin die cutting, so for your intricate dies, excuse me, it makes the cutting so beautiful. There's no more, when we combine it with our precision base plate, which I'll show you in a sec, there's zero more need for wax paper. Pretty much anything like that, shims, all that stuff is gone, and the cleanup is easier, just everything. I love it so much. So I highly recommend this, and it's sold separately in our catalog if you already own the Big Shot. So the new Big Shot platform, if you have any questions on that, just let me know. For embossing, you just take this piece away and you do your embossing like normal. For die cutting with our intricate dies, which thinlets and framelets, which is what Stampin' Up! Carries, you leave this part on. It's the thin die adapter. Okay, so for intricate dies, I extremely highly recommend you get the Big Shot platform. This is what the one side looks like, but we cut on the gray side, or the black side, whatever it is. Okay, so why do you need this? The differences between this and the way we used to do it is cleanup is going to be a snap. I'll show you that in a second. Your cuts are going to take you less time because you only have to run it through once, sometimes twice, depending on the die, but 90% of my dies are one time through. It cuts perfectly every time. And then just no more wax paper, no more foil, no more shims, none of that stuff. It's all gone. We love it. So don't forget, you can get that free, this free, or the magnetic platform if you get the Big Shot from me. Now, the dies we're going to use today, I have a little tip for you, and you may have seen this before. It's pretty common, but we're using the Swirly Scribbles Thinlets. And so, first of all, I write on my thing, my initials are because I use these in classes, but the number is so I can count and make sure I put them all back when I'm finished. So there's 9 dies in this set. But what I've done is just bought at Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever you want to buy it, these magnetic sheets that are vent covers. They're meant to magnetize up on your vents and block the air. Well, they're cheap. They're cheaper there than the craft stores. And then I just use my big paper cutter to cut them up into whatever size I need. So I cut this to the same size that the paper they were on. So now they're just easier to store and keep up with, and I put them right back in this package and I put them in a little box. So that's a tip. The die that we're going to use from Swirly Scribbles today is this one. And then if you remember from the previous video, I have some scraps of my Dapper Denim cardstock, so I can cut these pieces out. So let me grab those. Okay, so here's my scraps. I just always grab a few and see what I need. I'm thinking I can get both out of this one piece here. Okay, so I've got some tips for you on the precision base plate. First of all, as you use your top cutting pad for this, it is going to get worn. Can you guys see how this one is kind of a U? It goes out right here. It's a hump. That has happened from me using it multiple times on my precision base plate. This is a consumable item. You can get 2 more for about $11, and it's totally worth it. The replacing these compared to all the trouble that this saves me is 100% worth it. And of course, my Big Shot stuff gets used hundreds of times a week because of my class preparations. So I'm sure yours will wear down a lot slower. But what I like to do is I rotate my plates. So I start out the brand new ones on my magnetic platform or my embossing folders. And as they get worn out, they get moved up to the precision base plate. So they go through phases of life here in my stamp room. Okay, so you're going to place your cardstock, then your die face down, of course, on here. And this replaces the bottom cutting pad. So we just use one on top. The second one we don't use. And if your plate has started to curve like this, do not run it through with a curve this way, like a letter U. Do not do that, because it'll just curve more and more until it's eventually completely unusable. It'll last you a lot longer if you'll run it through with the hump up. So right now, this hump is not touching my paper at all. It's about this far from it. That's okay. You just grab it like this, shove it in there. Oops, I grabbed it too hard. By the way, that's another tip. I'm glad that happened. On your magnetic, your regular platform, or this one, if your paper is shifting, just grab a sticky note to hold it down. Okay, so shove that in there until it grabs on, and then you're fine. But some people don't, they're scared to break it. The Big Shot's pretty strong, so just shove it in there, because of the hump, it'll take a little more effort to get it to get started. Then don't press down on this. Hold it right here so it doesn't jump all over the table, and crank it through. And see how it flipped? So now the hump is this way. Sometimes that happens, and so when I run it through again, I'll go like this. So that's normal. Now everything's die cut out. Now this is what I mean about cleanup, guys. You see how nothing is on here? Nothing. I love it. All the paper stays in here, but yet it is die cut. Then I'm going to use my next favorite thing about this, which is the Big Shot die brush. It comes with this piece of foam, and whoop, that was a strong die cutting. And this brush. The brush is the magic. So you can be pretty rough with this, unless you have a super intricate image and maybe you cut like oh gosh, what am I thinking of? Foil paper you don't want to damage. You can be pretty rough, and it does not take everything out, but it loosens it up and it takes some of your images out. And my die, this particular die, has been used in class after class after class. I think it has received a little damage, but it still works. So I like to use toothpicks with my intricate dies to pop out the rest of the paper. I use toothpicks because, number one, 9 times out of 10 when I use my piercing tool, I poke myself. And number two, when you use the piercing tool, sometimes it can actually pierce your paper and make it not so cute. So I just keep some toothpicks by my Big Shot. I tell everybody, don't use these in your teeth, because I stick them back in there. So no telling how many hands have touched them. They're just for stamping, just like we have so many kitchen items in our stamp room. And so anyway, see how quick and easy this is? Now, sometimes a piece of paper will stay stuck in there. Always clean out your dies before die cutting again, or it's not going to cut right. So we need one more. Of course, I like to run it backwards because it saves me time if I'm sitting here making 50 of something. I'll go back and forth, but I only have to do it one time compared to multiple times the old way. I don't have to clean out wax paper out of this die. And so it just moves my process along so much faster than it did before. So I love, love, love the precision base plate. And that's why if you get the Big Shot from me, you can choose it as a free item. Okay, so here we go. We have our 2 things, and now I'm going to show you how to attach those onto your project really easily. Okay, so we're ready to attach our little swirlies, And what I'm going to show you works for any intricate images that you've die cut or even punched sometimes, anything small. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you before I glue these down is my favorite thing that we carry, the Silicone Craft Sheet. First of all, I have been, since I've started this video series just now, letting my hot glue gun sit here. And does everyone know how when you have a hot glue gun sitting on your table, those little beads of hot glue come out of the gun and they stick to your table or whatever surface you have there? So that's been happening. And the Silicone Craft Sheet was originally introduced as a hot glue gun tool. And then, of course, when you use hot glue, I'm just showing you, you can squeeze out a huge bubble here on your Silicone Craft Sheet. You can stick your project directly into that. So your die cut flowers, you know, whatever you're making, it doesn't even have to be stamping related. It might be fabric or whatever. You stick it directly in there. And then, of course, so let's see if this will work. I'm gonna stick just a piece of paper in here because I don't have an image. And once your hot glue gun, once that glue dries, you can pick it up off of this sheet. So I'm gonna leave that there to dry. But while it's drying, I shouldn't have covered this up. Let me just show you how easily this is picked up and removed and thrown in the trash. It keeps your surface perfectly clean. Basically nothing sticks to the Silicone Craft Sheet. And the glue's gonna take a little longer to dry. Okay, so I'm gonna leave my hot glue gun here because I don't want it to drip all over my table. Now, what we're gonna do is use this to apply snail adhesive to intricate images. What I want to show you, let me flip this around. First of all, is that when you do this, do not cover the whole thing with snail adhesive. That's just a mess and it's unnecessary. Remember, this is a tiny little skinny pieces of paper, so they don't need a ton of glue to stick to your project and stay. So I like to pick the thicker spots and just put some snail adhesive there on the thicker spots. And then this little swirl in the center, we don't want that to flop around, so we'll put a little bit on it. And really that's it. So I kind of hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots there. And then you place it on your project. Now, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there are some little pieces of snail adhesive that are like spider webbed or they're sticking out there. This is the adhesive remover, and that's what we're going to use to take that off. So you just literally use it like an eraser, but you're erasing adhesive. You can use this anytime you get excess adhesive on something. That hot glue is going to drip down on me. And that's it. Boom, we're done. So let's do the second one. Again, just hitting the thicker spots basically. And again, why? Because we don't want to clean up a bunch of stuff. It's going to stick down. It's a very skinny little image there. And then erase. And so that is how quick and easy you can apply these. So guys, don't forget, when you place your first online order with me, Jennifer Cotton, I will give you a free silicone craft sheet. I'll mail that to you. Let's see if this is ready to come off of here. It is. Oh my goodness. So look, if I had just made some kind of awesome 3D flower and I kept adding my hot glue, now I actually have a little surface here to apply it to whatever project I'm doing, and it's flat and it didn't stick here. This is perfectly clean. I love it. If you ever accidentally or on purpose use wet glue with this, like a any kind of liquid glue, it'll dry on here and then peel off, and if it doesn't peel off, put it in the sink under hot water and it'll come off. So this can be wiped clean again. But look at that, so cool. Okay, the last thing we're going to do to finish off this card is add some rhinestones, and I have a tip for that as well. So Stampin' Up's rhinestones, you get 50, 50, 50. So 150 plus these strips here, which you can use them as strips. They make great necklaces, Christmas tree ornaments, dog collars. But I usually cut in between them and use them individually so I get more for my money. But on here, I use the small and medium rhinestones. And so this is my tip. You take our paper piercing tool. You hold the rhinestone down because you don't want to flick it across the room and hit your friend in the eye or lose it forever. Hold it on there, dig up under there, and now the rhinestone is attached to this paper piercing tool, and I can see 100% exactly where I want to place it on my project, and I place it there. And that's it. It's so easy. So that's another stamping tip for you guys today, along with your basic card making tips. So I would love to hear back from you on how you liked the series. If you have any other questions about stamping, let me know. I hope this helps you get started and jump in and, you know, start making some projects on your own if you haven't yet. Don't forget, your first online order of 25 or more gets the free silicone craft sheet from me. And that's a 2017 offer, starting in January 2017. And then don't forget about when you order the big shot from me, you can choose your choice of the precision base plate or the magnetic platform free. I hope these videos have helped, and I hope to see you again at stampwithjennifer.blogspot.com. Thanks.